This lesson is going to cover the scale and random scale attributes that affect the actual render hairs and not the guide hairs. So you're probably thinking, okay, the scale attribute, random scale, it probably has something to do with the brush tool's scale. Well, what happens is, let's go into the component mode here, okay, and we're looking at the scale attribute. Now, if I set this scale to 2, look what happens. The guide hairs didn't change, but the actual render hairs did. They're twice the length of the actual scale. So if I put in a scale of 3, they're going to be 3 times the length. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do. The second thing that we can work with is the random scale. So let me first give my little guy here a haircut and chop some of these down a little bit. So let me cut some of these hairs here. Get them all kind of flattened up, kind of a flat top style haircut. Okay, let me go to the front view. And what I'm trying to do is create a haircut that will demonstrate this variation for you. Okay, so let's take a look at my hair here. Okay, so I have no random scale and my regular scale is set to 1. Let's go ahead and render this. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and store this image. So I've got this kind of flat top looking Buzz haircut on him. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, we'll talk about the scale. Again, if I drop this down to, let's say 0.5, it's going to be half the height of the guide hairs. If I set it to 2, it'll be twice the height of the guide hairs. Okay, so that's a very simple attribute. Again, you can use a map to drive this. What I want to talk about is random scale. So right now we have no randomized scale. What we can do is, if I set this to 1, I'm telling it to randomize every one of the render hairs comparatively to the height of the maximum guide hair. So let's render this again and see what we get. All right, so a huge difference, and I love this. This is very mechanical in my opinion, and this is a little more realistic, a little more human. Hair grows at different rates, and it's usually messy and clumpy and sticky, and so this looks really good. Now, obviously, if we had more hair and we had different passes, we would get a really beautiful result, but for what it's worth, this is very useful. Now, I may not set the random scale all the way to 1, but definitely, leave it at 0.8. Have a little bit of randomness to it. Again, you can use maps and use them as overrides and multipliers to really get some control over where you want that randomization. Maybe on the sides you only want minimal randomization, and on the tops you want a lot. Well, using an attribute map will give you that control.